The triathlon is one of the toughest events in any major sporting competition. So first of all, tell us what inspired you to take up this particular sport?
Well, first of all, the sport is very challenging. It gives me, a lot of challenges to do, give me different types of goals because there's 3 different disciplines. And as you know, and most people know, it's a very tough sport. So doing triathlon to me, is actually a very big challenge because I used to be a swimmer, and changing from swimming to triathlon and taking up another 2 sports, it's also another big step for me. And for a person like me, I love challenges a lot. So that's how I picked up triathlon.
Okay, Bryce, let's talk about the sport of triathlon itself before we go on to the other questions. Now, There's the open water swimming, there's the bike ride, and there's also the marathon. But the most important one of all to me would be the transitions between the different disciplines. Now, do you happen to have any sticking point, any difficulty in any of the different disciplines within triathlon, of course?
For me, as all triathletes do face, transition is always the most important part of the race too, because transition is where you have to put on your helmet or put on your shoes as fast as possible. And when you come up and you get off the bike or come up from the swim, your heart is racing, and people tend to lose a lot of focus, and that's where where your hands get shaky and things get flying all over the place. So this transition, it's always part of my training. After do like 5-10 times of transition before or after training, so that I get the hang of it, don't screw up my transition. And sometimes transition is also determines whether you come out first or last out of transition, and that's where it also determines whether you get the podium or not. So in my opinion, it's very important.
Now, for some, the bike part of it is the hardest part, and then there's also the runs, which is the final stretch. Do you happen to have any favorite discipline at all in triathlon?
Well, I used to be a swimmer base, so swimming is one of my favorite sports. But when it comes to triathlon, you need to be good in all 3. And currently now, I'm kind of weak in my run, so that's why me and my coach, Coach Eugene Lee, my running coach, we are working a lot on the run, especially on my VO2 pace, and my aerobic workout, so that we can just strengthen the run, so that when I come off the bike, I won't be lagging behind. At least I can follow someone on the run, and hopefully all this training pays off.
Now, Bryce, do give us a quick rundown on the distances that you'll be covering for the YOG triathlon.
Yeah, sure. For the swim, I'm going to be doing 750 meters. For the bike, would be 20 kilometers. And for the run, will be 5 kilometers.
Speaking of the YOG, it'll officially get underway later this week. So how have your preparations for the games been so far? Are you looking forward to the experience of competing in such a major event?
Well, for the past about 3.5 weeks or so, training for me has been intensive, and my school has also showed a lot of support by giving me full-time training after I qualified for my YOG. And as I said, Coach Eugene Lee, my swimming coach, Coach Leonard, and my cycling coach, Coach Harif, has been also giving me a lot of intensive sets so that, to improve my stamina, my strength, and my speed. So this is a lot of support from quite a lot of people, and preparation for YOG has been going good so far, and I hope to have a good race next Monday.
Are a lot of people counting on you to, perhaps break your personal best maybe?
I should say a lot of people are counting on me, but I won't take this as stress, but I'll take this as very good support for me, and I'll do my best to make them proud.
Well said, Bryce. Now, you've competed in several events this year, especially like the Subic Bay ASTC Triathlon Asian Cup and the Meta Sprint Series Aquathlon. Now, you came in first in both events, but what do you think has been your biggest achievement to date in the sport?
Probably my biggest achievement would be in Kazakhstan, where I did my YOG qualification, because different countries around Asia come together to compete just for 5 slots in YOG, and it wasn't easy because when I was off the bike, me and Taipei were fighting for the last position, and it was just so hard, and the run, and both of us were just very, very tired. And if any of us lose our mental game or mental strength, it's really end of the qualification for us. So I think the mental game during the run for me was the best thing that I've ever done. So I think that's the most memorable race.
Do you look back to that even today?
Yeah. Always, almost all the time.
Now, Bryce, I understand that you're the only male triathlete from Singapore at the YOG, but your teammate Denise Chia will represent us in the women's triathlon. Now, have the two of you been training together, and does it help to have someone else doing the same sport as you at the games?
We both don't train together, But we do see each other often because probably go out for lunch or something like that. And sometimes, meet up for some, photo shoot, and we get to talk to each other. But it's also good to have, a partner like Denise with me to go to YOG together, because it also inspire other young athletes, triathletes especially, to take up this sport and aspire to one day be like us.
Now, the weather in Nanjing at this time is slightly cooler than that in Singapore, but do you think that this will help in your race, and what's the ideal weather for you to race in?
For me, the ideal weather, be it hot or cold, it doesn't matter to me. It's just like getting used to the weather, it's more important. So for me, maybe it would be a ideal weather there, as it's a little bit cooler than Singapore, but not forgetting the Europeans and the Americans and other people, they also like that kind of weather. So the race will be very, very interesting and very, very hard.
But I'm sure you'll be packing like a wetsuit, especially for the swim leg, given the cold temperatures. I mean, provided you've done your research, of course, on the weather, right?
I think so far the temperature, the temperature of the water is warm. So wetsuit is currently not allowed in Nanjing. So it's just pure tri-suit.
What are your expectations at this YOG? Are you hoping to perhaps maybe take home a medal?
For now, probably just doing my best, because now in YOG, in triathlon, there's about 32 competitors. And, for someone like me, just not aiming to be last. But, jokes aside, but, probably about being the top Asian to finish in YOG would be one of my goals, and probably doing my best.
And finally, what are your plans after the YOG? Will you be starting your preparations for next year's SEA Games on home soil?
Probably straight after my YOG would be just study. My teachers will give me extra classes and finish off the last bit of my exams and homeworks and stuff. SEA Games may be one of my other goals that I want to qualify for. But now it's only a sprint distance, and from sprint to OD distance, Olympic distance would be a big jump for me. So I just hope for the best. Just train for it. If I just can't qualify for it, it's okay. But there's a lot of opportunities for me to do it.
What about any other minor competitions on the sides this year? Do tell us a bit more of the competitions you'll be taking part in.
Probably at the end of the year, about mid-November, I'll be in Phuket doing my Asian Beach Game. So that will be my next competition after the YOG. So, but I will just treat that as another experience race, because it's open category, and I'll be facing top people around the world, around Asia. I'll just do my best again.
Before we go, any words for the fans, perhaps the triathlon fans who will be tracking your progress in Nanjing?
All I have to say is just wish me luck, and I hope that I won't disappoint you guys, and I will do my best.